playground project. I'm Zach, this is Javier, and this over here is Leo.
And so a little bit about the Magical Bridge Playground. And so it's a playground located in Mitchell Park here in Palo Alto. And one of the main goals of the Magical Bridge Playground is to create an open, accessible space for people of all ages, abilities. So whether you're young, old, have disabilities, or do not have disabilities, you should be able to enjoy this. And so one of the core aspects is that the park has 6 different sections, and each section provides a different sensory experience. For example, there's a swinging area, there's a sliding area, there's even a rotation area, and each of those will provide a different experience for the person using them. And so this leads to our next point.
Yeah, so our next point is how we actually started our design process. And of course, in order to start our design process, we decided to actually go to Magical Bridge, interview with Olenka and Jay, who are the founders and designers of Magical Bridge Playground, and also just get an understanding of the actual situation. So as we went throughout the whole playground and spent a good morning there, Olenka and Jay talked to us about how there's an actual need for more tactile feedback, especially for people young or old who have visual differences. So that is something that's very interesting to us, and especially as we walked through the playground, it became more and more apparent that this might be something that we wanted to look at. So where does that kind of leads us, and where do we fit into that concern and situation? So we kind of did a lot of brainstorming and tried to understand that there's different processes that we can do to maybe help the solution. So one could be haptics, which is using different materials for touch, for feedback, or also noise, which also gives another sensory kind of simulation. And as we talked more and more as a team, we decided that we wanted to stick with haptics and touch, and maybe even incorporate a little bit more noise into our attractions, but definitely focus on the haptics.
And so one of the first things we did was we were looking at different ways people apply haptics or touch sense. And usually you have, like on the left, different textures that a person can touch. And so another example is on the right, you have the fidget cube. You can press, you can rotate the stick, and it'll give you a different experience. But then but then we were like, maybe we don't want to just stimulate the hands, and we might also want to stimulate your feet to see how that works out. And so one of the things we saw was they had different textures based on altitude, and that would change how it feels on your feet. Then there's mats that when you press on them, they're squishy. You can visually see the distortion. And so that led us to generate several solutions. Yeah.
All right, so the next couple slides, we're just going to show you guys some of the ideas that we had. They'll take form in the way of 3D prototypes that we made. Sometimes it's just going to be a rough sketch, and we'll even throw in a video just for good taste. So this first idea that we had was kind of take yourself back to when you were 7. You know, you're a spy, you're trying to dodge lasers, things like that. The goal here is to create some sort of tunnel in which you're running, you're walking, you're trying to get through this tunnel and dodge. And what you're going to be dodging are, it's hard to see here, but there's little holes poked in the tunnel here, and that's where air darts would shoot out at you as you try to get through this tunnel without being hit by the air. Kind of along the same lines here, maybe a little bit easier to implement would be to put these, air platforms around the park. They could be pressure sensitive, or they could just go off at random intervals. And what would happen is air would kind of spurt up through the middle. It would be a nice little implementation of the haptics.
And so on a smaller scale and more tactile for your hands, we have something called the honeycomb wall. where it's made of different hexagons. Each hexagon has a light, a vibrating motor, and it can detect touch. And so one of the first games we thought about with those is kind of like a Simon Says game where the motor will buzz, and so you get this feeling of like a bee, and you can kind of orient your hand based on where you feel the vibration, and so you're trying to touch the hexagons that have vibrated, and so that's how it incorporates the Simon Says. And so that's kind of 2D, and then we thought, why not make it 3D? And so here we made an animal farm, and the idea is to have high texture models or toys that depict animals, and when you touch them, you get a sound out of them. And so, could you play this?
You want to play the...
Yeah, please.
Okay. And so what happens when you touch them, they give out the sound, and the idea is that there's some animals that you don't usually get to interact with, and you might want to know how they feel, how they look. And so now you can associate the sound with the animal and the texture in there. And so here we're prototyping the touch detection and implementing sound. And it's very basic, but yeah.
And finally, our last idea was like the haptic wheel, which would incorporate all of the technology from the last two into an actual wheel, where if you turn it, it would vibrate more and more, so it would be different stimulation depending on which angle you turn it.
And since we don't have a whole lot of time, I guess moving forward, we've already prototyped some designs into 3D fashion, as well as some sketches. So moving forward, we're going to have to talk with Alinka a little bit more, maybe send her some videos and some pictures, get an idea of where we want to go from here, what idea we want to choose. Just some current problems right now are the material selection for some of these ideas, the implementation of the air mechanism. We haven't actually put that into our prototype yet. And then we're always asking ourselves, can these ideas be more engaging? In a positive way, of course. Thank you.